Hey guys, it's Dave Tran here and welcome to another Guitar Zero to Hero song tutorial. And in today's lesson I'll be showing you how to play Fire and the Flood by Vance Joy. So I'll be showing you how to play it exactly how Vance plays it live. And this song will predominantly be finger picking. Alright, so for the basics of this song, you'll need a guitar without a capo and you'll need to down tune our guitar one whole step on all the strings. Now basically what this means is from our standard tuning, we're going to be going down one whole note for each string. Okay, so for our low E note, we're going down to a D. It'll sound like that. For our A string, we're going to go down to a G. Which will sound like that. For our D string, we're going to go down to a C. Sounds like that. For our G string, we're going to go down to an F. Which will sound something like that. For our B string, we're going to go down to an A. And for our high E string, we're going to go down to a D. So altogether down tuned, we have D, G, C, F, A, and D. So this song is actually really simple. Now the only thing that makes it sound complicated is what we're doing with the picking hand. The fretting hand has literally 4 positions that it changes from throughout pretty much the whole song. And they're very easy chord shapes. The hard part is getting the finger picking right. So we'll start with the intro, which is basically the main riff and finger picking pattern that we're going to be using throughout the whole song. Alright. So with the fretting hand, it's going to be really easy. We're going to just take our ring finger and we're going to put it on 3rd fret, and that is all you need to do. Alright. Now for the picking hand, what we're going to have position wise is our index finger on the 4th string, our middle finger on the 3rd string, and our thumb, which is going to be floating from either the 6th string or the 5th string, depending on what chord shape we're playing. Now it's important to note that the position of your index finger and your middle finger do not change. They pick these strings throughout the whole song, and you should not move your fingers elsewhere to pick other strings. So they stay there. Your thumb is the only one that floats between the 6th and the 5th string, depending on the chord shape that you're playing. For this intro bit, the thumb's going to be hitting the 6th string. So the intro will sound something like this. I'll just play it for you first and then I'll explain it step by step. Okay, so that sounds complicated, but it's not really at all. What we're going to do is break this down into one small chunk. And in that small chunk, we're going to break it down into 5 smaller chunks that you're going to learn and put together. And that is the whole picking pattern that we're going to be utilizing throughout basically the whole song. So the main chunk that we're going to learn goes something like this. Alright, and one more time. Alright, now to break that main picking pattern chunk up into smaller chunks, what we have is the first chunk where we're playing the 6th string at the same time as the 4th string together like this. Alright, that's the first chunk. Now the second chunk is made up of what I like to think of as a down, up, down picking sort of arrangement, where you're going down on your thumb, you're going up on your middle finger, and you're going back down on your thumb. And that is the second micro chunk. Now the third little micro chunk in this picking pattern is again the same as the first, so it's just the 6th string and the 4th string plucked again together. The 4th micro chunk is the same as the second, so it's that down, up, down picking pattern. So 6th string, and then 3rd string, and then 6th string. And finally, our last little chunk is 6th string and the 4th string plucked together, followed by the 6th string just hit by itself. So the 5th micro chunk sounds like this. And all together, we have the 2 strings together, down, up, down, the 2 strings together, down, up, down, the 2 strings together, and finally the single pick. And slowly, it should sound like this. One more time. Now, a tip on playing this, timing wise, your thumb is going to be keeping time basically. It's at one constant beat the whole way through. The thumb will be the timekeeper, and it plays to the beat of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so if we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and everything else will be fitted around that. So our 1st and 3rd and 5th chunk where we hit the 2 strings together will be on the 1 beat, the end beat after the 2, and the 4 beat. Let me play it to you so you can see what I mean. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... The 3rd string pluck is then peppered in between that riff. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so for the intro we have one main line, which is consisted of 2 of those picking patterns. Now the only variation when we play that plucking pattern this second time around is that that single pluck on the 6th string is not on a 3rd fret, it's an open fret. So all together, it will sound something like this. So notice on that last note, I let go of the 3rd fret to pluck an open note. So that's the main phrase we need to learn. The 2 plucking patterns of the chord shape where the last note is an open note. Okay? So we're playing that twice in the intro, and the intro will sound something like this. I'm now going to play this at 75% speed and 100% speed with a close-up of my picking hand so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so now we get to the verse. Now for the verse, we're going to be playing that phrase that we learnt in the intro twice. After we've played that twice, we're going to change chord positions to a C chord shape. Now you can lift your index finger in this chord shape so that you're only playing with your middle and ring fingers, that C chord shape, because we're not going to be plucking anything other than the 5th, 4th and 3rd strings. Now the picking pattern for this chord shape is exactly the same as we learnt for the intro. Now the only difference is the thumb will be playing all the notes on the 5th string, and it'll sound something like this. So again, it's exactly the same as what we learnt for the intro, just with a different chord shape, and our thumb is plucking the 5th string continuously and keeping that time. The picking pattern itself though remains exactly the same, and those 5 micro chunks remain as is. The only difference is that your thumb is hitting the 5th string and not the 6th string, and your fretting hand is in a different position. After we've played that phrase once with the C chord shape, we return with our ring finger on the 3rd fret on the 6th string, and we play that original phrase once more. So altogether, the verse should sound something like this at 75% speed. And that's it for the verse, and that whole chunk gets repeated twice. Now we get to the pre-chorus, which is very easy as well. So the picking pattern is exactly the same. Alright? So for our phrase though, initially our main phrase always was 1 full chord. Now we're going to break up the phrase into 2 chords. Alright? So each chord basically has 1 picking pattern to it. So we start the pre-chorus with that C chord shape. You don't have to push down on your index finger again. So notice how I'm just playing that 1 picking pattern. And then we go to our G shape, which is just the ring finger on the 3rd fret. Remember, at the end of that full phrase, you hit an open note. So that full phrase sounds something like this. And finally, we go to a D chord, which has a different shape to our traditional open D chord. What we have for this alternative D chord shape is our ring finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string and our middle finger on the 4th fret of the 5th string. Now the picking pattern is going to be exactly the same here, and that chord is held for 1 full phrase, and it'll sound something like this. Don't forget that open note at the last note of that full phrase. So altogether the pre-chorus will sound something like this at 75% speed. Okay, so now we get to the chorus. And the chorus starts off with an E minor chord. Now I like to play this E minor chord with the first 2 fingers because it will be easier for you to transition to the next chord. This is because the middle finger will already be on that 2nd fret of the 4th string. Now we play that E minor for 1 picking pattern. And then we go to the C chord shape and we play that for a picking pattern. And finally we go to the G chord, which is just our ring finger on the 3rd fret. And that is played for 2 picking patterns, or 1 whole phrase. Now those 3 chords are repeated twice. Now on the 3rd cycle, instead of playing that G chord for 1 full phrase, we're breaking that phrase up into 2 chords. The first bit will be that G chord, and then the second bit will be that D-shaped chord that we learnt earlier. And it'll sound something like this. And that whole cycle gets repeated twice as well. So to recap our chorus, we have the E minor shape, the C shape, and then the G shape. And that gets repeated twice. And then we have the E minor shape, the C shape, the G shape, and the D shape, and that gets repeated twice. So altogether, the chorus at 75% speed should sound something like this. And that's it for the chorus. Now after the chorus, there's an instrumental brass section. And this is really easy as well. It is 4 chords. It's E minor, C, G, and D. We have a very simple strumming pattern as well that goes something like this. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. And together with the chords, it'll sound something like this. 1, 2, 3. Down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. And that's it for the instrumental brass section. And now we get to the bridge. Now the bridge is really easy as well. It simply goes like this. We have that C chord shape, and we're going to be plucking the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings all together. And then we move that shape up 2 frets, and we hit all them as well. And our next chord shape is where our ring finger is on the 7th fret, and our index finger is on the 5th fret. And we're hitting the same strings again, the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. And all together that will sound like this. Now the second time we do that, instead of going up to this 7 and 5 chord shape, we're just going to play a G chord shape with our ring finger on 3rd fret on the 6th string. And we're going to be plucking the 6th, 4th, and 3rd strings. And then we finish that bridge with a build up on the alternative D chord shape that we have on 5 and 4. And we're going to be playing the same picking pattern that we have elsewhere in the song, and that's going to be played 3 times. And then we end by picking the 5th and 4th strings together. So in total, the bridge will sound something like this. And that's everything for Fire in the Flood by Vance Joy. Now I'll just be playing the verse and chorus and singing along, but don't mind my singing, and this will help you with the context. Try to play along. I understand this is quite a fast picking pattern, so for beginners out there, you might want to start out slow and just keep practicing, and you'll get there. I am sure of it.
Saw you lying on honey in the cold ice. Anywhere I go, there you are. Anywhere I go, there you are. I've been getting used to waking up with
So I hope you guys have enjoyed the song tutorial. Now this one has been a tiny bit trickier because there's been a lot going on with the picking hand, but it's just a matter of speed. What you're actually playing is not very complicated at all. Just remember to break it down like I taught you into small chunks that you can learn bit by bit. That way it's going to make this whole song a lot easier to learn and you'll be getting it in no time. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave your comments and thoughts, hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.